Like we discussed in the previous video, the burn down chart is used to measure progress during the iteration. But what if we need to measure our progress throughout different iterations, from one iteration to the other? For example, in iteration 1, we finished 50 story points. In iteration 2, we finished 60 or 40. So we need to track our progress from one sprint or iteration to the other. So like we see here, the velocity chart shows the status of your team throughout the sprints. Here we have, for example, 5 sprints in the post. The gray line shows the estimated amount of work and the green line shows the actual amount of work. So here this team, at the first iteration, they said, okay, we are able to finish 80 story points. Why do we use story points? For example, you might finish 10 user stories and each one of them requires only 1 effort hour. On the other hand, one user story might take you 10 hours to complete. This is why story points is more accurate. Here you estimated 80 hours and you finished more than those 80 hours. This means that your team is able to work on tasks that have story points more than 80. So in the next iteration, we give a higher estimate, like 90. Based on this estimate, at the end of the iteration, we found that we finished only 85 story points. Here, this team made a mistake. Why? Because the team in sprint 5, they were not able to finish the tasks that are assigned to them. In this case, the Scrum Master should decide to give them less amount of story points, but he gave them more story points and they completed more than the estimated number, and then they estimated a less amount and finished less than this amount. Okay, this velocity chart is not, but the idea of the velocity chart is to know the amount of work that your team is able to finish within an iteration. So here, for example, at least the team finished like 80 story points and at most they finished like 100 story points. So here we can say that our team velocity ranges between 80 and 100. While the team is working with each other, understanding their personalities and working as a whole, the velocity of the team should increase. So for example, if your team, your agile team or scrum team is working with each other for the first time, they should have low velocity. But if we go forward in the future, 2 months or 3 months, the velocity of the team, if this is the same team without any changes, should increase. If it decreases, this means that there is an indication of poor management.